guys, so I'm just going to give you a brief update of what's been happening in our lives over here. So on the 22nd of February, our friends Bart and Yvette, who were over it last October, they come out again here and brought Georgie with them. So they did have a bit of a drama in the airport in the UK. I think they flew out from Gatwick. So just anyone that's flying to Canada, there are so many things at the moment that you need to remember, especially with COVID. But the thing that Bart and Yvette forgot was something that is regardless of COVID. So they had come out in October and obviously sorted out their ETAs, which is the Electronic Travel Authorization. It might stand for something different, but that's what I think it stands for. And they then this time brought their son out, because I don't know if you remember, when they come out last time, they were supposed to be bringing their son Leland with them, but he was 14, and in the UK they weren't vaccinating children, yet in Canada they were saying that you could only come here if you're over 12, if you're fully vaccinated. And even though they're two different countries with the two different rules and everything about the COVID vaccinations, long and short of it, he couldn't come in October. So he come this time, but they didn't realise and forgot to do his ETA. So when they arrived at the airport, they weren't allowed to check in until they had done his ETA. Now they gave Bart and Yvette some details of how to do the ETA while they were there. They then went onto the internet, went onto the first one that popped up, which is like the ads that come up at the top. Turns out it actually wasn't the right one. They ended up paying $79 for something that wasn't even real, and then had to then do it again and find the one that cost about $7. So that was a bit of a nightmare for them coming out here. Then when they came out here, the first thing that we did was some skiing at Snow Valley. So I did go to Snow Valley between Christmas and New Year when my friend Laura come out, but that was very fresh from when I had fallen and sort of fractured my elbow, so I was really nervous. This second time that we come, I was a bit more confident, and I mean, I say a bit more confident, I never left the nursery slopes, but I was more confident than I was last time, and I was going down the nursery slopes faster. So here's some footage of Snow Valley. Hi everyone, and we are now at Snow Valley. So Bart Yvette, our friends from the UK, have come over to visit us in Barry, and they've brought Georgie over. So we're at Snow Valley in Barry, well, Minnesing, and I haven't got off of the nursery slopes because that is about my skill level. So I've only been skiing once, and the first time was New Year's Eve, and I had the broken arm at the time. So as you can imagine, I was really, really cautious as I was coming down the slope. So I'm here at the moment, I'm just at the bottom of the nursery slope, and that is where Yvette, she has never skied before, this is her first time, so she's over from UK trying skiing, and I will do a little video of her coming down the nursery slope. And I can see that my nose is like bright red and my cheeks are red and rosy because it's like, I don't know, -12 here at the moment. Scott, Bart, Yvette's son Leland and Taylor are going down the bigger slopes, but we're not brave enough to do that at the moment, so I'll show you some of Snow Valley. Okay, so these are the nursery slopes. So Yvette is in the blue jacket up the top there, and in the black jacket and the purple pants is Georgie. So hopefully they will be alright coming down with people in the way. I've managed to get a little bit better, so I'm much faster than I was on New Year, but obviously New Year I had a freshly broken arm, so it was rather scary. Today I'm doing better, but I do not think I will progress off of the nursery slopes. Maybe I'll get skiing lessons. There they go. Georgie's quite good, but at New Year she went on one of the bigger slopes with the boys and it really scared her, so she's kind of staying put with us to stay safe. Oh, there goes Yvette. There she goes. Georgie Yvette's fallen over. Okay, so here's Georgie at the top of the hill in the purple trousers. So it's getting darker now. Georgie's just gonna try and get her skis back on to go back up. That is on the ski lift, well, it's the travelator thing going up to still go down the nursery slope. We haven't progressed yet, but I'm getting faster and I haven't fallen over yet. So that was on the Wednesday. So then on the Thursday, we ended up going to see one of the Barry Colts games here at the Sadlon Arena. Now, anyone coming to Barry, you have to go and watch the Barry Colts. It is really, really good. And now, coming from somebody that was in the UK and had never watched ice hockey, and now Taylor plays ice hockey, and ice hockey is a big way of life. Well, they don't even call it ice hockey out here, they just call it hockey. But the Barry Colts is a really, really fun game. There always seems to be some sort of fight on the ice now, but it's just, the whole thing is like action-packed and it is really good to watch. Now, the Colts didn't quite win this time. They normally win the games, but I think they just lost at the last minute against the Mississauga Steelers, but it was a really, really good game. And then at the end, we went to the stood outside the changing room with Taylor. So, and Yvette, for some reason, had brought a Sharpie with her in her handbag. Always bring a Sharpie. You never know when it's going to come in handy. So then when the Colts players were coming out of the changing room, Taylor was stood there with his Sharpie asking the players, please can you sign my shirt? So he's got quite a lot of the Barry Colts players' signatures on the back of his Barry Colts hockey jersey. So he's going to keep that, and his plan is that if they ever make it into the OHL or anything, then he thinks his jersey is going to be worth more money. So you never know. You never know. So we're at the Barry Colts game tonight. This is Leland's first game that he's going to go and witness. This is going on YouTube, mate. So this is just a warm-up at the moment. Pucks flying everywhere. And this is the Barry Colts in these like colourful jerseys here. And who are they playing? The Mississauga Steelhead.
My pack. It must be the Cops lucky charm count, isn't it? Lost it.
Don't jinx it.
Oh, don't jinx it. Oh, nice. Good whip for the pitch. Oh, do you know what? That's an own goal. The players skate went in. Oh!
Daddy?
Georgie?
At half time, can we go and get some food?
No, because you didn't eat dinner.
That's not fair.
Barry Colts goal, his first of the season, scored by number 2, Connor Clemens. Time of the goal, 16:20.
Will you come in July, mate? There's no
Bet you you're I asked you who's the better ice skater? Who is your better?
When we went skiing.
Leland, did you go to
Yeah.
You did Leland.
I was fly on her and you was fly.
That's so cute.
Huh? I know, it's not here yet, is he? Who is it? Number 11, but he's obviously injured.
Not bad, buddy, not bad!
Taylor! Taylor!
Fight, fight! What the hell's Taylor doing?
Quick, Polly takes shots at the goal.
Friday, I can't actually remember what we did. On Saturday, we had like a birthday party for Georgie. So it's Georgie's birthday on the 2nd of March. However, we wanted to celebrate it earlier with her because she was going to be going home and we weren't going to be there for her actual birthday. So we went round to our friends Kathy and Tracy, and they live in Stroud, which is just near Barry, next to where my cousin lives, and their back garden is absolutely massive. So in their backyard they've got a big fire pit at the end of the garden, which me and Yvette spent most of the time getting warm next to the fire. Then they've put a massive ice rink in their back garden, so all of the kids from the neighbourhood come over and skated for Georgie's birthday. And then we also went down to the bowl, which is, you may have seen this from my first few vlogs when I first moved to Canada. There's like a little sort of, it's a toboggan hill. I think it's like a reservoir, but in the winter it completely freezes over and everyone takes their kids tobogganing. So here's some footage of that, and there is some footage of me being wiped out by one of Taylor's friends and falling over. Luckily, I fell on this side, not my fractured elbow side, which is still playing me up. I can't believe it. It happened in December and it's now March, and I still can't touch my shoulder and it's still clicking and giving me some grief. So hopefully that sorts itself out soon, fingers crossed.
So you just like holding on to it.
Sim, he fell over.
No!
Yeah, all you.
Oh, my finger hurts. I'm going to go down on my knees.
Come on here with me.
What did we do? we did it here, right? You know, I tried to do.
When you're ready, in a minute, Bart, we'll go together. Are you moving?
Oh yeah, I want to see some more rides. Right here.
Where's the brake?
Guys, get ready for drawing. Did my mom just do that hill?
Yeah.
Go!
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh.
Oh dear!
I'm going down on my knees.
Alright, go on Ed.
You hold the ice block.
No.
You gotta go in that.
No, watch him. Go.
Oh, fuck. Go down on my belly.
Oh dear!
I wish I saw that.
Please tell me you got that on
No, we
film.
went halfway.
Oh, that's amazing. But you got to go on that. Good. Yeah, don't break.
Then on Sunday we went down to, we went to an escape room. So the last time Bart and Yvette come out, we went to a place called Zenith Escape Rooms, which is kind of opposite the Rec Room and Park Place in Barry. And that was good, but not as good as the escape room that we just did this time. So it was called Escape Room Barry, and it was in Leland Street, so sort of more like downtown Barry. And it was really, really good. So we did something called the Reformatory. And so it's like you're supposed to be stuck in, I think it's like a mental asylum, and you have to get from the first room into the second room and solve the case of what's going on with the doctor. And it was actually really good. The kids were getting involved, everyone was getting involved, everyone was working together as a team for once. And we didn't actually, I think we asked for a hint once. I think the last escape room we had to keep on asking for hints because it was just not clear of what we were supposed to be doing, but here it kind of was all making sense. We were working together, and yeah, it was really, really fun. So I would highly recommend doing the escape room Barry, especially because on Sunday the weather was kind of slushy and wet snow. We were going to go to Blue Mountain, but being cold and like slushy snow and kind of like freezing rain, it wasn't going to be the best outdoor weather, so we made do with what we could do inside. Then I'm going to bring you to the end of their stay and just tell you how absolutely crazy this is, and this could only happen to me or my friends. And so Scott dropped everyone back to the airport on Monday evening for their flight. So their flight was leaving Toronto to go to Gatwick at 9:25 at night. So he dropped them off about 6:30 and then headed back to Barry. So Scott was on his way back and received a phone call from Bart, our friend, to say that they wouldn't let them check into their flight, and they've been told that they're on a no-fly list. I've never heard of that other than in the movies when you have these terrorists and they stop them from escaping by putting them on a flight ban. But the check-in, so they were flying with WestJet. WestJet would not tell them what the issue was. They just said it was fraud. So, like, my friends were confused because how could it be fraud? They were saying that They asked my friend Yvette for proof of the credit card she paid for the booking. So she gave them all of her cards, because she paid some of it on her credit card and some of it on her debit card. She gave them all of the cards, and they said it was paid by none of those cards. So they were confused, because Yvette's cards are in her name, it's her credit card, and that's what she used for the booking. And she showed them, because they went through, so if you go onto Skyscanner or any of these flight comparison apps, it brings you to a list where you go through like third-party companies, I guess, to get your flights cheaper. So they had used a company called Go to Gate. And I'm going to tell you in a minute why you should never use Go to Gate. So they used Go to Gate, and anyway, it flew them out here, but stopped them from going back. So they wouldn't tell them why. They spent ages. They were given numbers. They tried getting hold of Go to Gate, but Go to Gate were apparently in England, so weren't able to answer the phone at that time, because it was sort of past working hours, because don't forget, we're 5 hours behind the UK. And then anyway, Scott was due to go back to work up at the mines on Tuesday, the next morning, and he was going to have to leave at 6 AM. So like, he was thinking, what's he going to do? Because if he drives back up to the airport, he's going to be so tired for his 8-hour drive to go to work the next day. So I left, I kept my slippers on, and I drove up in my pink fluffy slippers to the airport to go and get them. So anyway, we come home, and the next morning, Yvette woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, our time, to phone Go to Gate, because that would have been 9 o'clock in the morning UK time. So she spoke to them, and they were like, oh, ma'am, it's fine, don't worry. And she was like, well, of course I'm worrying. We're stuck in Canada, and we have not been able to fly, and can you tell me what's going on? And they were like, oh, no, it's fine. We're going to speak to WestJet, and we'll give you a call back. Well, she went back to sleep, and it got to 5 to 8 in the morning. She hadn't heard anything from Go to Gate. So she phoned him again. Oh yes, don't worry, ma'am, we're sorting it. We've spoken to WestJet. We're going to have the flight confirmation out to you within an hour. Give me an hour. So she was like, okay. So Scott was panicking, because he was supposed to have left for work at 6 in the morning, but he phoned his work and explained what had happened, and that obviously his daughter was still here, and we were trying to arrange their flights home, so he was a bit panicky, so could he stay a little bit later? So his work managed to put him on the later bus, so he could stay for a little bit longer with us in the morning to try and get this resolved. Yvette then called, so when she went to the check-in desk at WestJet at Toronto, they gave her a number for the fraud department at WestJet. So while we were waiting for Go to Gate to give us a call back, Yvette phoned this fraud number. So when she phoned the fraud number, they, as soon as she said her name was Yvette Hoskin, the lady on the phone was like, oh, Yvette, thank you, I was really hoping to speak to you. And I was like, how does this lady know who Yvette is? And it turns out that the reason that they were on a no-fly list is because when they flew out from London Gatwick to Toronto, like a week or so ago, they'd actually flown out on a stolen credit card. So we were all like sat there listening to this on speakerphone, like, what? So Yvette and Bart had paid Go to Gate, so they had paid, but Go to Gate then paid for their flights, not with the money that Bart and Yvette had given, but by somebody else's stolen credit card. So apparently they spent $5,000 on somebody's credit card and got individual tickets. So rather than like a group return flight, they paid for Bart, Yvette, Leland, Georgie, all separate one-way tickets, which cost $5,000 Canadian. And they worked out whoever got charged for this obviously flagged it. It then got flagged to the fraud department in London, in England, but their flight had already taken off by the time that the fraud company had found out about this. So they were waiting for Bart and Yvette to come back to be able to stop them and find out what's going on. I mean, this is just like crazy stuff. Like, just think that they could have got arrested at the airport or something. But luckily this lady on the phone was like, I know that you guys are the victims and we can tell that you're the victims in this fraud. But they'd put the credit card in Yvette's name. So Yvette, basically her name was to this stolen credit card. So anyway, they asked about the flights going back. And it turns out that Go to Gate had only purchased the return flight home at 10 o'clock in the morning on the Monday when they were due to fly out at 9:25 at night. Now, the card that they used bounced because whoever's stolen credit card they used this time, which was a different credit card, didn't have the funds in there for the flight. So when Yvette then called up the morning after when they were due to flight, when Go to Gate kept on saying, oh, we'll come back to you within an hour, they made 10 attempts with different stolen credit cards. They went through Air Canada, WestJet. They tried with all of these different airlines to get Yvette and Bart a ticket with stolen cards. And we just couldn't believe what was going on. And the difficulty is that we now knew that Go to Gate were never going to help us get back. Because Go to Gate were fraud, they're like a fraud company. Now, I know people that are still due to go on holiday with Go to Gate, and I can just say, please be careful, phone the airline, make sure that your tickets are already confirmed legitimately and that you have got a return ticket and not individual tickets for one way, because I don't know how this company is still operating. And the drama then is that we had to buy whole new tickets to get home. Now, the lady from WestJet fraud did a really good favour. So the tickets would have cost $2,700 to get home. But because of the issues that we'd had and the fraud, she managed to work some magic and get the flight tickets for us for $1,400 to get home. That's like for 4 people. So obviously we had to pay for Georgie, they had to pay for the 3 of them, and it's just something that you do not need after all of this drama. And that's money that potentially they're not going to get back, because possibly the money that Yvette paid on the credit card is insured through Visa, but the money that you pay on a debit card generally is not insured for this sort of thing that happens. Now, the funniest thing was that we actually phoned up Go to Gate, we didn't even say that, oh, we've spoken to the fraud department, we know you're scammers. So we started off the conversation like, Yvette was like, so what's happening? Have you sorted out my flights? And they're like, oh yes, it's all sorted. You've got your flight going home. Just waiting for the confirmation to send to you. And it just went on, and they kept on saying, can I put you on hold? And then I just said to Yvette, just tell them you know. So she was like, okay, so I know that you're scamming me. I know that you paid for our flights on stolen credit cards. And the guy just kept on going, oh, yes, ma'am. And I just thought, what do you mean, yes, ma'am? Like, say something about it. And we've actually got it on like voice recording. We recorded the phone call of Yvette going, so how are you going to fix this? So are you going to use a different stolen credit card that's going to work to get us our flight home? And he said, yes, ma'am. And so we've got all of this on voice recording, probably not going to help our case, but it's just crazy that he was so blasé. And it turns out that Go to Gate, this company, are actually not based in the UK at all. They're based in Pakistan. So it's a huge scam. Please beware, and I'm sorry that if you've already booked flights with them, but steer away from them. So I got caught quite a few years ago when I used one of these third-party companies, and I used it to go to Egypt. I arrived in Egypt at my hotel, and the hotel said that there was no room booked for me, that the company that I booked through hadn't actually paid for the room. And then I was trying to get hold of this company, but it was like really late at night when I landed, and it was really, really stressful. I had to pay again. I had to try and claim the money back, and it was an absolute nightmare. So since then, whenever I always go on these flight comparison websites to look for the cheapest flight, but then when it gives you the options of who to book through, I always book directly through the company or the airline. So if it says go to gate, travel trolley, WestJet or Air Canada, I would always book directly through them. At least you've got a comeback, and at least you know that you're not going to get scammed, because maybe because of COVID, like, things are getting crazy, and maybe at once it was a legitimate company, and now due to COVID they're trying to claw some money back, so they're going to do it fraudulently. Who knows? But yes, it has been crazy times over here, but they are back home and they are safe, and yes, until the next adventure. So that was our time with our friends, and I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the little snippets and little footage of what we did. And it's never a dull moment in our lives, there's always something crazy going on. But thank you for watching, guys. Any questions, then pop it in the comments down below, and please remember to like and subscribe. And sorry it's taken me so long to get the next video to you. Thanks, guys.